It's time to take a ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive with our co-hosts Alan Saunders and Zachary Smith.
Get in the van. We're going for our Steelers Afternoon Drive. I'm Zachary Smith. That is Alan Saunders, and it is a Friday. So, of course, you know the boys joining us, Steelers DB Derrick Bell. How we doing?
Doing fantastic, man. We are getting closer and closer to Christmas time. We got the fire truck coming around to our neighborhood tonight. My kids are really excited about
There we
that.
go.
So, I'm feeling good. I'm very, very grateful that the weekend is very, very close. I'm ready to get some rest. So, yeah, but I'm doing great. Excited to talk some ball.
My uncle is the fire chief of two different departments here. So, like, the fire truck coming around with Santa and everything was definitely a big staple of my childhood. So that's awesome. That's kind of like when it kickstarted for me, like when I officially knew that transition from Thanksgiving to Christmas was taking place. Alan, how we doing?
I'm doing good. Doing good.
Any fire trucks coming through the neighborhood?
No, I mean, I grew up in the middle of nowhere. I didn't have a neighborhood. Certainly didn't have fire trucks. Here, they do come, and now I can't remember when. Maybe this weekend. Maybe. I do remember like Allie going to the window, like, oh, there's Santa Claus on a fire truck. All right.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean that like the breakfast with Santa. That's like this and next weekend is like when those things will start to take place. So definitely looking forward to that. Because
got my tree already. I feel like I'm way ahead of the game, but also I need to be because like 3 road games in December. So
that's when you joined. DB and I were talking about the remaining schedule. Like, with just the Monday night game and then that game to end against the Ravens. I think only 2 home ones left. So, we'll see how we close it out. I always open up by saying about going for another ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive. We're going to go up another hill and see if we're going up or down on the roller coaster of the 2025 season this weekend as well. As always, we'll start out this Friday talking about the injury report, who's in, who's out, who do we still not know about. DNP on Friday and out. We already knew about Derek Harmon. Calvin Anderson also rolled out, suffered that injury during the dreaded indoor practice, along with Dante Kent, who, like you said, Alan, you feared suffered a significant injury, now rolled out for the season. I'm not making a joke here, but it's insane the parallel between that and the Corey Trice situation. Like, not making a joke whatsoever, just saying it's pretty insane that the both those guys returned to practice, opened the window, and then immediately shut that window in the first practice.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great.
And sticking with the theme of the secondary here, Kyle Duggar, who was a DNP on Thursday with a hand, also did not practice on Friday, now rolled out. Alan, obviously on that, just him being out, but also does that make it more Chuck Clark, more Jabril Peppers, maybe both? Who do we think is going to fill that role?
Good question. I don't think I know.
Do you think they know right now?
Probably. The problem is Jalen Ramsey also didn't practice this week. So like there was, limited today, just rest. I guess he's fine, but like mostly the answer was both of those guys. I don't know which one is going to be left if Ramsey's playing. Also think we could see some heavy nickel, which would involve both of those guys. Baltimore plays a lot of 12. Isaiah Likely is a tough matchup for a corner. Impossible matchup for most linebackers. Feels like a safety is the kind of right kind of guy to put on him. So I think it could be both. It could be a mix and match situation. I don't know. We'll see.
Now, no game statuses here, but there are some guys obviously that missed some practice time throughout the week, and just curious to get your thoughts on if there needs to be any concern there about how they're going to play, even if they're going to play. Patrick Queen dealing with a glute injury. Obviously, Joey Porter Jr. had the elbow thing pop up. TJ Watt with the toe thing. James Pierre was able to clear through the concussion protocol. Not much to say about that. That's not like a ligament or a muscle or anything like that to have to worry about. And then, of course, Aaron's just going to do his thing, I guess, throughout the week, probably at this point. I'm expecting, even though he wasn't taking many days off at the beginning of the year, we might see him take some Wednesdays off here the rest of the way. So anything to add on any of those guys?
Yeah, a little concern about Patrick Queen. Okay. He's a tough guy. He's going to play. This is not the kind of game where you want to be like playing at less than 100%, tackling Derrick Henry, chasing down Lamar Jackson, running with Andrews and Likely. Those are tough jobs, man. They need him at his best, and although he's going to play, I don't think we really know whether you're going to get like 100% of Patrick Queen or not.
I'd like to make a suggestion to the Steelers. Not that this would be a foolproof way of helping this much, but if you are going to not see as much Patrick Queen, and there is going to be snaps for somebody else also not named Peyton Wilson, I'd rather see more of Cole Holcomb, I think, than Malik Harrison. Do we think that's potentially on the table?
I think it depends. Like, to me, this is actually a game where you can play a lot of Malik Harrison because you can just make Patrick Ricard the Malik Harrison button. If Patrick Ricard's in the game, put 50 in there. If he's not,
what's his snap share been like this year?
If he's not, then I think I might rather see Cole Holcomb.
Okay. DB, do you have any thoughts on any of that?
I am worried about Chuck Clark if he has to play significant snaps. I'm worried about if they have to play Malik Harrison significant snaps in this game. One thing that I do think is kind of worth noting is that the Steelers have been playing like some even front stuff, like with all three linebackers on the field at the same time. I didn't look up the numbers specifically to see like how bad it is, but it has been bad on film. And it has been like probably their worst changeup that they've tried this year defensively, because it effectively makes TJ Watt like have to play closer to the ball. And that has just not been good for them. So I would say that if the Ravens do get heavy, and I anticipate them being really, really heavy on Sunday, they need to not do that. They need to find some other way to try to fit the run, whether it's, just stacking 8 guys in the box, try to live one-on-one on the outside or whatever. I would not play that 3 linebacker set against the Ravens, especially like how things have gone in recent weeks. But yeah, Patrick Ricard is back. They're playing like more 21 personnel, and like just in general, like we already know that they're going to use Likely and Andrews and Charlie Kohler and those guys. So yeah, better bring the shoulder pads, strap the helmet up a little bit. Probably gonna be a lot of running plays, I would imagine.
So I was just looking here. Patrick Ricard has played 34% of the team's offensive snaps as a whole this year. There's obviously some variance there. There's like a week where he played 53% of the snaps. Last week, he played like 18% of the snaps. But Malik Harrison has played 41% of the defensive snaps in games that he's played. Obviously, the outliers have significantly inflated that number last week, with Queen leaving and everything. Ended up playing 52, which is 70.3% of the snaps. Against the Bears, he played 60% of the snaps. So I don't know how to equate that. If you're just going to have him be the Patrick Ricard button, if he's on the field, maybe being the cue for him to be in there. Obviously, Queen being back in the fold, but I don't know. I'd like to see more of Cole Holcomb, I think, than Harrison.
I would also say too, like it is one of these things where, on-off splits can be a little bit weird sometimes because they can sometimes lie to you. But I do feel like that you do feel like you felt the loss of Derek Harmon last week a little bit too. The Steelers just been really like the one area of their team that's been banged up this season is defensive line. And they came into the year with like a decent amount of depth, and it's kind of gotten depleted. Now they're having to play some guys like off the street. But when Harmon's been on the field this year and he's not going to play against the Ravens, the Steelers have allowed like just shy of 4.0 yards per carry. When he's off the field, which is like, 216 plays or whatever, they're allowing 4.42 yards per carry. So, and like they have a negative EPA when he plays, a positive EPA, which is bad for the defense. So, yeah, they've been better with him on the field this year, and he's not going to be out there against a team that wants to run the football. And yeah, I think really the big thing for me is just I think this one's going to be like a pride type of thing. Like the Ravens ran them out of the gym, last year in the playoffs. They spent all season telling us that shaped the way that they wanted to attack their roster. Let's see it. I think it's
big point of conversation for Alan and I earlier in the week on the afternoon drive was just like how much is that still weighing on their mind, especially when you just had that Buffalo game
100%
very reminiscent.
100% on the coach's mind and the front office.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're already kind of doing it. We're already talking Ravens offense for Steelers defense. So I guess let's start with those sides of the ball. Unlike the last couple, not that we're unfamiliar with Buffalo, but certainly don't see Chicago a whole lot. So unlike the last couple of weeks, an opponent that we are very familiar with, know what they want to do offensively. Is there anything that's different about the identity of this offense when you look at them? I've talked about maybe Lamar running a little bit less, maybe not being the exact same athlete. He's also been a little bit banged up, but they have the 2 tight ends that can obviously go. Not the greatest wide receiver room. Alan, I'll start with you on this. When you look at this Baltimore offense, is it still status quo when you look at defending them?
I mean, I think there are a lot of ways. Like they're not. Lamar does not look the same. I mean, I think that's the big takeaway is that like he just does not look like the MVP caliber player that he's been. I don't know if you can bet on that happening. Can you just go into a game against this team being like, well, Lamar's just playing kind of okay right now.
Mm-hmm.
Stop Derrick Henry and we probably win. I don't know. I think I would be tempted. Like, just to me, I think the Steelers personnel on the defensive front without Derrick Harmon is a disadvantage. Like I don't think you feel good about their front, whatever you want to call it, 5 in their base defense stopping the run. I think if I'm the Steelers, I'm very tempted to overcorrect against the run and say, stop Derrick Henry, keep Lamar in the pocket, and if he throws for 400 yards and beats us, fine. Like, that's probably the best way to approach this game from Pittsburgh's standpoint. And not that Lamar isn't capable of that, but he hasn't done it in a while. And I don't think they can just line up and win. I think they kind of have to get gimmicky a little bit if they want to feel like they have a chance.
And DB, I'll throw this to you, but I just wanted to add to this, to Alan's point about saying you can't just kind of like rely on that being the case. I also brought this up earlier in the week. Like, there's also times where they've just, for whatever reason, gone away from Derrick Henry, and you can't rely on that happening either. I mean, there's 5 games this year where he has 15 or fewer carries, which, like, I understand game script can be involved sometimes, but I feel like it hasn't been in a lot of these cases. So, DB, I'll throw it to you in terms of defending this Ravens offense.
Yeah, I would agree. Lamar doesn't look healthy to me. I don't think he's moving with quite the same twitch. He ran around a little bit more last week against the Bengals. You got the 10 days of rest, but I mean, he still didn't practice a couple of days this week, which would indicate that he's definitely not fully healthy. And it's one of those things where it's like, who is fully healthy at this stage of the season? It's December, right? Like, everybody's banged up. But you do see it with Lamar. He's just not playing well, to be honest with you, even aside from like what he looks like physically. Last week's game against the Bengals, it was one of those things where it was legitimately probably one of the worst games I've seen him play as a passer from an accuracy standpoint that I can really remember. I mean, there may have been some one-off games where he's played that poorly, but I mean, he was kind of unlucky with some of the breaks that they got, but he missed probably, I would say, like 5 wide open throws that I think he typically makes in his sleep, even some of the in breakers to the intermediate area. And that's really, like, Lamar has always been one of the most accurate quarterbacks, like throwing in between the numbers, like on those like intermediate passes. That's like his bread and butter. So to see him miss that and then make some just like really poor decisions, taking sacks, being loose with the football. He can always be a little loose, but it's just been weird. Like, the numbers kind of back it up too. Like, you look at just over the past month, they're not great. Like, passing EPA per play, they're 30th. Success rate, they're 27th. So, like, you talk about like an MVP type of quarterback guy who's been playing at just a supernova level for the majority of his career, but especially the last 2 years, they just don't look in sync whatsoever. And you mentioned like the run game stuff. I mean, over the course of the season, they're 22nd in rushing success rate. So it's weird. Like, this is a Ravens team that brought like a bunch of pieces back from last year, and for one reason or another, I've even been going back to the film this week just to try to see like what's different. Like, I don't see why this would be that much different. They've changed one player, and it's a left guard. They got the offensive coordinator back. I know Lamar's been banged up, but it shouldn't look like this. And but it is good for the Steelers' perspective because I think it definitely closes the talent gap between these two teams for sure.
Yeah, Lamar has in his career. He has started 103 games. Of the 25 worst passer rating games of those 103, three of them three of those bottom 25 are in the last 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's been the completion percentage is down 53% last week. One of his worst individual performances. He's also taking more sacks. I think he has 9 sacks over the last 3 weeks too. I don't think that like daring Lamar Jackson to beat you is like the world's most successful strategy on the big picture. But when I look at the way he's been playing and the way the Steelers have been playing, I can't come up with anything better.
It's a fair point. DB, like, what do you make of a couple of guys? I'm actually, in last week, they extended Mark Andrews, which I would say kind of surprised me, at least going before like what I thought was going to happen this season, because it seemed like they were just going to move forward with Likely, and then obviously he gets hurt going into the season, and maybe that changed the course of their plans. But they have 2 tight ends that are obviously very capable. They have another back which we haven't talked about at all, at least on this episode, and Keaton Mitchell that can also add to it when Derrick Henry's not on the field. Kind of those complementary pieces that aren't Lamar, that aren't Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I think last year those guys played pretty well. I would say like Rashad Bateman like had the best season of his career last year. Zay Flowers is always like one of those kind of strange players to me because I do think he's a helpful player, but he's definitely like miscast as like a wide receiver 1. Like the details in Zay's game just are kind of like frustrating to watch. Like there are times where like he'll like drift into like zone coverage. Like he's not great against that. And then like he just like those smaller type of receivers, they just have a limited like catch radius. So like what I mentioned with Lamar's accuracy, it's almost like magnified with some of the guys that they've got, like mainly like Zay when he's your wide receiver 1, because like you just don't have that radius. So like if it's not pinpoint and you're not being precise with the ball location, he's not coming down with it. The Andrews thing is really weird to me, to be honest with you. I don't think that I would have done that if I was them. I don't think that Andrews is moving the same way that he was like 3 or 4 years ago. Still a good player, but you have Likely, and then you could probably just either play more Charlie Kohler like next year or go get one of these tight ends in the draft if that's what you wanted to do. But I haven't seen the contract to know exactly what the cap hits or dead cap. I just saw the figures that got put out by the agents, and I know those are misleading. But yeah, I mean the supporting cast is what it is. I think the big thing is just like Henry, he does still have like some of like the home run ability. It's just the run game, for whatever reason, it just hasn't been as like consistent this year when they had like an all-time run game last year. Even like when they get under center, it's just been different.
You would think this would be like one of the best short yardage running teams with what they have.
It makes no sense, but Henry's a terrible short yardage back. Yeah. And it doesn't make like it's always dumbfounded me, to be honest.
Their offensive line is not elite. It's okay. I would like. There's not a lot of guys where you're like, oh, that's an all pro over there. Like I just, they're all right. Falale's struggling a bit. I feel like Roger Rosengarten had that like really, really good rookie year, and he's just been like kind of okay this year. Linderbaum's good, but like they're not dominant for sure.
Absolutely. Anything else before we flip sides of the ball? Want to add? Okay. All right. Talking about the Steelers offense against the Ravens defense. The Ravens defense definitely has improved within the last few weeks, but how could they not, based off where they were through the first, couple months of the season? So they've definitely been trending in the right direction. How much of that is also on the opponents that they played early on as opposed to recently. The Steelers offense still searching for answers. A bunch of them. I know, Alan, part of your, literally the topic of your morning rush today was about getting number 88 more involved within the tight end room. DB and I have had several conversations about that. Alan, I'll start with you for this one. You looked at the Steelers offense attacking the Ravens defense. Where does it start?
I think the way to attack this defense is the way to attack this Ravens defense. Yeah, I said it right the first time. The way to attack this Ravens defense is to find a way to exploit the fact that they do not have very many playmakers, and they move them around to try to like cover up for that. But like, I think that can be taken advantage of. I think I'd be like running out the Arthur Smith bag of trick plays against this defense. I think I'd be trying to use like jets and counters and stuff where you're just stressing them out and making them defend the width of the field. And they don't like, compared to Baltimore defenses of the past, they're not scary. There's no teeth to this defense. Like, they're just kind of there a lot of the time.
Obviously, I think one of those moving pieces, obviously Kyle Hamilton, who you always have to account for where he's going to be lining up. When they made that trade with Owe going to the Chargers for Louis Gillum, I mean, that allowed them obviously to be able to move Kyle Hamilton around a lot more. I mean, they were already moving him around prior to that, but certainly getting another deep safety allowed them to do that more freely. DB, what is your thought?
Yeah, I mean, the Hamilton thing is all like he's always, their X factor. He's just kind of such a special player that you can put him wherever, like, the leaks are in your defense. I would say a couple things for me, like, Baltimore, their biggest struggles is just generating a pass rush. Like, schematically, they don't like to do a ton of like blitzing. When they do, they can spring a free runner every now and then with some of the stunts and games, but like their 4-man pass rush without Madubuike in the lineup is just it's just a complete non-starter, to be honest with you. They have no juice off the ball. The Steelers have been pretty good in pass protection for the most part, so I'm not really worried about that. I think you're going to have time to try to find receivers. It's really just about like trying to figure out where the matchup's going to be. Nate Wiggins has been pretty good this year. I think that Chidobe Awuzie has probably played above like what I would have anticipated. And then they've just done a better job, I feel like, since they got Gilman, keeping a lid on things over the top too. So I still don't think that Roquan's like moving like prime Roquan, but he has been a little bit better over the past month, at least from the eye test. But I would just say like, a lot of the Ravens numbers look really good over the past like 5-6 weeks, like since the Hamilton switch. And I do think that Hamilton's a special player. And one of other than Lamar, I would say like he's probably their best player on their team. But it can be a little misleading. Like, you got to go look at the quarterbacks that they played during that stretch. Like,
yep, sure.
I mean, you play who's on the schedule, I get that, but like that's why the numbers look as good as they do. I think you saw that a little bit. Burrow had some really good moments last week, and they moved the football. It's just Steelers don't have Joe Burrow. They don't have.
I mean, as to say, the red
either,
zone,
so.
Burrow was like 1 for his first 10 in terms
Yeah.
of red zone passing.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if that was just the rust or if that has been the case for Baltimore being able to, let teams move the ball against them, but then they locked down the red zone. I don't know over the last month or so. But yeah, Ellen, I want to ask you something in regards to the offense. Anything that you think, again, without like talking about stuff that you're not allowed to talk about, we could see differently from this offense, whether it is somebody that we haven't seen yet being in the lineup. Obviously, Adam Thielen was brought in this week. We've been talking about maybe this is an MVS week. Is there something we haven't seen yet that this offense could do or add?
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll see MVS this week.
Okay.
I think I assume that we will see Thielen at least a little bit. I'm less convinced of that one.
I have a question real quick. So if we're seeing MVS and Thielen, what's happening with the hats in the room?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they scratched Scotty Miller last week. They can scratch Keyshawn Williams pretty easily. And then, I mean, they've played with 6 receivers before. They would just have to figure out how to do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
They are also going to have to call up an offensive lineman because you have to dress 8 and they only have 7. So
who's that going to be?
Dylan Cook, I would assume.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Kind of forgot about him.
Yeah. So that, like, I don't think there's another area where they need a practice squad call up. Like, they're pretty deep at safety. They have Castro on the 53. So my guess is like Cook is one and MVS would be the other. I didn't think when I went back and looked at the Bills game, I thought Andrews Pete pass protected pretty well. I didn't think you moved people in the running game that much, but Sam Howell was really good beside him. This Baltimore front is just bad. To me, I think like they got to be able to win some at the line of scrimmage. They do keep a lid on it really well. So like that's like the thing that's like curious to me about like MVS. Like this is probably not the team that you think you can beat deep. But I do think like you can just spread them. Like I said, just spread them out. Like just make space. And I don't think it's going to be pretty, but I do think there is like a winning methodology here somewhere.
Okay. I'm trying to think if I have anything else to add or ask in terms of Steelers offense versus Ravens defense. DB, I know you're pumped up to see wide receiver 2 MVS finally getting in the lineup. I know you were thrilled about that addition, so be good to see him.
I'm just dying laughing the fact that it's December and I'm sitting here in front of a microphone and we're talking about Adam Thielen and Marcus Valdez-Scantling as like,
did you guys see
yeah, we're gonna need to give these guys helmets this week. I can't. I say I can't believe that we're here again, but I really can, unfortunately. So it shouldn't be a surprise, but it is kind of funny to me. But yeah, such is life.
Yeah, the guy that finished in second place for the guy that the Steelers are trying to acquire in 2024, they just went back to the well and got in 2025. So Mike Williams last year,
he's still available.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we can get into some prediction stuff if nothing else to add to set the table. I will start, and let's just go right off that pivot point that Alan threw out there about this team keeping a lid on things. So the Steelers offense, you would think this is a terrible prediction by me based off the way that we've said this. The Steelers have not been finding explosives in the pass game. They can't throw the ball deep. Baltimore defense keeps a lid on everything. I don't care. 2+ passing plays over 20 air yards in this one for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh my God.
Mentioned Nate Wiggins earlier. He went out in that Thursday night Thanksgiving game with a foot. I actually thought he was going to miss an extended period of time. Not going to be the case. I'd test him early and see if he is healthy. And then Marlon Humphrey, I feel like you can get every now and then anyway. I'm rolling with this. 2+ passing plays over 20 air yards in this one for the Steelers.
That's definitely bold.
Thank you. Alan, go ahead.
I am going to predict that Arthur Smith watched my Morning Rush episode and that he will be so inspired by my just unassailable logic that he will rip up the entire game plan and say, you know what, Alan's right. We need more Pat Freiermuth. I'm going to say 5 catches for number 88 in this game.
I'm concerned. I would be very concerned if he needed to watch that episode to have that thought.
I would be more concerned if he's listening to what people on podcasts say, even if it's me and I think I'm right. That's a bad idea.
Yeah. All right. Like it. DB, what do we think in Steelers offense?
So the this is like a kind of a weird one for my prediction, but it is kind of like playing on just that Adam Thielen MVS part of this.
Okay.
Steelers have thrown touchdowns to like, I think almost a dozen players this year. I think it's 11. And I think that's like close to like a franchise record. I'm going to say that Rodgers throws a touchdown this Sunday to either Thielen. It'll be to someone who hasn't caught one this year yet. So whether it's.
Oh, okay. So Spencer Anderson.
Yeah. Whether it's Spencer Anderson, Thielen, MVS, Caleb Johnson, it'll be some Scotty Miller. It'll be somebody like that. He's going to throw a touchdown to somebody.
It's 10 right now, by the way. There's 10 different players that have receiving touchdown.
And players with a catch that have not that so far this year that do not have a touchdown are Caleb Johnson, Scotty Miller, and Spencer Anderson. So those are your options, along with MVS and Thielen. And
it wouldn't be surprising to me if like they did something with Thielen in the red zone, like a short package of plays.
If you're going to play him, that's where you want him. 3rd down in red zone.
Yeah. So that's my bold prediction offensively.
I like it a lot, actually.
Keyshawn Williams, I guess we should include there. He doesn't have a catch, but he's got some routes running.
I was going to say that's why he's not showing up here for me on the list. All right, you got your defensive one yet, and just we'll go in reverse order, or no? You still not? You still don't got your.
No, I do have my defensive one. Okay. I'm going with this again just because this was actually won me a little bit of money betting wise last week.
Oh, okay.
I am gonna say that Keaton Mitchell is going to have his longest run of the season against the Steelers. Mitchell's had like a really weird season because every time he gets the ball, it looks like greatness is about to take place. And like he's been really good. They just have Derrick Henry. So it's like, how can you really get him the ball? But he's only got 25 attempts, and then they throw in the ball a couple times as well. But his long on the season's 25, but he has broke 10+ yards. The reason why I say that is like just stylistically, the Ravens have been a much better rushing team outside the tackles. The Steelers have been really bad defending runs outside the tackles. If you've never seen, I would anticipate most people on this podcast have seen Keaton Mitchell run at some point. Keaton Mitchell is very, very fast. The Steelers defense is very, very slow. So I'm going to say that he rips one, unfortunately. And that's kind of how, like, one of the ways that Baltimore is going to win the kind of explosive play battle in this one.
I kind of liked where you were going with it because, like, when you threw out, I was like, okay, Keaton Mitchell's fumbling this. That's what he's going to say here. Not where you went with it at all.
Hey, so. Derrick Henry fumbled the first 3 weeks of the season. He hasn't fumbled since. He stopped wearing those sleeves.
And he put the ball on the ground like the first touch he had against Pittsburgh.
All right, DB is now taking the entirety of. I felt like I had.
Is that
this,
it? Let's go.
I was going to say that Keaton Mitchell is going to outrush Derrick Henry.
Okay.
So you give you that part. And also that Derrick Henry was going to fumble in this game. I'll say Derrick Henry under 50 rushing yards and a fumble.
Oh, boy. I like it.
Okay. If you were to just look at this Steelers-Ravens rivalry and all the clips that we've seen of it, the historic battles that have taken place in the past, and drop one guy from the current roster into those battles, I think it might be Jalen Ramsey. So I'm going to pick him to have a turnover in this football game. Welcome to Steelers-Ravens, pal. Let's introduce yourself to the Baltimore Ravens.
I like it.
I like it too.
All right. This is where we're either going to be feeling real good going into the weekend or real bad going into the weekend for the fans. Although with the way that I've picked this year, the Steelers are 6-6 and not feeling good about it. Mike Tomlin said he got to be worse. You got to be feeling worse about how I'm doing. I'm 5-7 in my picks this year, so not great. Which is good for Steelers fans because I'm picking the Baltimore Ravens to win this one on Sunday, 24-16. I just need to see it. Like in past years, this is a game where I would have said this feels like a Steelers win based off everything that happened. There just doesn't seem to be as much juice, at least externally. I'm sure within those locker rooms, there's a bunch of juice for this matchup, but just from the fan bases. And I think it's because of the results that both have gotten. I just think the Ravens are the better football team. I think ultimately, as of right now, I'm not picking the game this far out, but right now I would have said that I think they're going to split the series with the home team winning each one. So as we sit here right now, I'm still going to say that that's going to happen. Going to pick Baltimore to win this one.
I think the Steelers. I agree that this is a game that in another year I think I would be picking the Steelers to win, but I do think people are unnecessarily negative about the Steelers' chances in this game because they're thinking about that Ravens team from 2024, which has not really shown up this year very often and certainly hasn't recently. I think we're actually in, like a lot of the Steelers games have just been miserable to watch this year, not just for Steelers fans because they're struggling, but just because they've been very sort of all the way around. I actually think we're overdue for a really good game. I think the Steelers can shut down Derrick Henry. I don't know how much the Steelers are going to be able to move the ball. I don't think they'll be explosive, but I think they'll be able to grind out some long drives. And I think we could be in a nice little tight game and maybe, throwing for a win on a 2-minute drill, something like that. I think it's going to be very close. I've got the Baltimore Ravens winning 24-23.
Oh, my gosh. So the Steelers don't have the ball at the end of this, right?
I mean, give me Lamar on a game-winning drive, 24-23.
Okay. I was just saying, if we have the ball, like, I don't care where it's from. I think you got to try the field goal. Give me a do-over on that Bears game.
Oswell from Pittsburgh. You're kicking it from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, DB, what are we thinking?
I agree with what Alan was saying, that this Ravens team is like is being overrated, I feel like, on social media, just because they have won some games over the past 6 weeks. A lot of those have been against bad quarterbacks. And I just don't think that this Ravens team is playing very well. And like, I just think that the AFC in general is bad. The AFC North is terrible. So like anything could happen. That being said, like, I think the Steelers just look like a team that's out of answers, to be completely honest with you. Like, coaching staff, I feel like offensively, defensively, I think feel like they're just out of answers. So I'm going to take Baltimore in this one as well. I think the Steelers will cover. I agree that it should be close. I wanted to pick the Steelers to win this game. Then I just decided that I was going to go with my head instead of my heart. And then hopefully I end up being wrong and the Steelers end up pulling it out. But I'm seriously very concerned about just the state of the offense. It just looks like it's kind of run its course. So I don't know.
You're concerned about the state of the offense, and not to say that I'm not, but I mean, imagine saying that when you look at this defense, everything that they've poured into it in terms of the resources and the results that they've gotten on that side of the ball. I mean, I understand what you're saying 100% because I agree, but
I mean, the defense has been worse than the offense. It's just earlier in the season, I felt like it was a very particular style of offense that they were executing. And like the couple things they were doing well early in the season, like
allowed them to punch above their weight.
Yeah. And then now it's not working. And then it's like almost like it just feels like DOA, so.
Well, I have bad news before we even know the result of this game. And that's that we all have the same prediction, which means while I'm hoping that we are wrong, we're going to look stupid collectively if we are, and we can be old takes exposed. So we're going to rely on.
I do feel good about the fact that the last time we all picked against the Steelers, they won.
Wasn't it the Colts game?
I was also the one that picked the closest game.
Was it the Colts?
Yeah.
Did you pick the?
Yeah. I didn't pick. Yeah. So I think maybe there's if you're looking for some hope in our results anyway, maybe there's that for you.
Yeah, I don't. Yours actually makes me the most upset. A 1-point loss with a Lamar game-winning drive. I mean, wouldn't that make you feel better about the Steelers, though, than, like, the way they've been? I mean, you go into Baltimore and you play a close game and you get beat by, like, a resurgent performance by a former MVP. That's a heck of a lot better than scoring maybe by, like, the following
Bills defense.
I agree, but how good can you feel at 6-7? I don't know.
I mean, it's better than how you should feel this week.
It's probably
scoring 7 points against the Buffalo Bills.
If there is like a silver lining to everything, like if you're an eternal optimist from a fan base perspective, the good news is, like I said, the AFC's terrible, and the AFC North's even worse. So I mean, they're a half game out right now. You win this game, you're back to hosting a playoff game, as improbable as that sounds. So as bad as they've looked recently, like the door is still like, I wouldn't even say cracked open. I'd say it's wide open for you to walk through. You just gotta put some good tape out there. We'll see.
All right. Well, yeah, we will see. That's the beauty in all of this is we can say whatever we feel. We can share our
and we gotta
opinions.
appreciate the limited amount of Steelers games we've got left this season. No matter what, good, bad, and different.
It's crazy.
We only got a couple left. So
to answer Alan's question, I do think I'd feel better. It would just take me until, I don't know, Wednesday or Thursday of the following week to actually feel better. Immediately after, no, I'm probably I'll show up for the post-game show, but very unwillingly show up to the post-game show. And then I'll feel terrible on Monday. Probably start to turn the corner a little bit on Tuesday. I think by Wednesday I'm back in if they lose.
I'll also agree with your take that they split these 2 games with Baltimore. And I got to be honest, I think it's split.
Look at the other games.
I think a split wins them the division.
If you look at the other games, we got Detroit, Miami, Cleveland. They have Cincinnati, New England, and Green Bay.
So like I DB's column this week, which you should definitely read, is like the Steelers should start Will Howard if they lose. I don't think that's going to happen because I think
it's definitely not going to happen.
I think they would start Will Howard if they got to a point where the games no longer had meaning. But like they could very easily lose this game and be right back into a tie with Baltimore next week.
Yeah, they could. I think the reason I wanted to write that was just because I am holding out a little bit of hope that they will surprise us this weekend, and like it'll be one of those like classic Tomlin games where like they force 3 or 4 turnovers from Lamar. The offense does just enough to inspire a little bit of optimism back in the fan base. But like my head tells me what I see with my own eyes, that this team is just like they're either going to limp into the playoffs or things are going to like go downhill significantly. And the way that I see it is like if you're not going to be competing, even if you have a chance to like get into the playoffs at like 9-8 or something, it's just like I would probably just be more interested from a viewership perspective of seeing what Will Howard is for the last month, even if I don't believe that he's like the next like franchise quarterback or anything like that. It's just that holds more value to me than getting in and like playing the Houston Texans and getting just shut out or something like that at home. Like I don't have any.
That would be a terrible game, I think. 6-3 final.
It probably would be. No, I Texas offense playing a little bit better, but
I do.
It wouldn't be fun to watch. The over-under would be low.
That's, to me, I mean, I understand the way their defense is playing, and
their
offense has definitely been better. But you threw out the one team that I feel like I'd give them the best shot against.
That's what I'm saying. It's just I don't have a ton of faith that they're like capable of even going on a run because like they haven't showed us that. Like they haven't showed us that.
So I don't think they're capable of going on a run. I think they can win a game though. And like, so credit to Chris Adamski for this, by the way. But we were talking in the meeting room the other day, and here's his scenario that he's pulling for. The Steelers and the Ravens end up tied at 8-9. The Steelers win the tiebreaker, make the playoffs, and win a playoff game from 8-9, ending all of the both Tomlin has never had a losing season narratives and the it's been 9 years since he's won a playoff game narratives. Just kill them all right there.
That would be
the division,
classic.
And then just to add on to that, something happens to both quarterbacks in front of him. Will Howard has to play in the playoff game, and then he wins it.
No, better yet. They win the playoff game. Aaron gets injured in the playoff win, and then Will Howard throws 4 interceptions the next week, so we can kill that narrative too.
But see, I don't want to
them all. We're killing.
I don't want to kill it. I want to breathe life into the thought.
No, I don't like any. I don't like any of those. Kill them. Kill them all.
All right. Let's get out of here. You know our predictions. Be sure to drop yours down below, both your bold predictions and the score predictions. As always, we got to tell you where you can find us. DB, go ahead and tell them.
Yeah, at Steelers_DB on Twitter and YouTube. You can find our written work at SteelersNow.com.
And Alan.
Hey, Saunders_PGH on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. PGH Steelers Now sites account, SteelersNow.com. Go there. Sign up for SN Plus. You get all the best content from me, DB, the rest of the team. DB's column, like I said, on Will Howard is still there at the top of the site. You need to check that out. And Notes from the Road coming from Baltimore next week. Probably we're leaving. We're not leaving until Sunday, so probably will be later this week. Maybe like Wednesday for sure. I try to get it out. It's hard. I like to take my time with those. They're definitely the most fun thing I write every week. I really enjoy doing it. So look for that. Also, we got to come up with a date for our subscribers only live stream for December. I'll try to work that around the holidays here somehow. And then shout out to our most recent subscribers who we named them yesterday, but we had this whole pile of new subscribers, and I was telling Smitty, but I was in my car, of course, that we were unable to. I love reading where they're from. I just think it's so cool. So, yes. Including in this new group, we've got North Olmsted, Ohio. We've got a McKinney, Texas, in here. We've got a Tulsa, Oklahoma, and we've got a Tijuana, Baja California. So how about that? That's a new one for sure. Yeah. Sacramento, Marion, Iowa. I think it's so cool that our subscribers, like, if I didn't watch this, I would think, like 80% of these guys are from like Scott Township and McKees Rocks and Glenshaw, and it's like all over the world.
Yep. Yeah, I was just saying, not even just obviously domestically, every place that you named there in the U.S., but we obviously read out every time that we get somebody outside of the U.S., and it's awesome. Also, another shout out for finally got another Spotify Wrapped here Patrick Blasco sent this to us on Instagram, and he's in the top 1%. So not quite that top 4% that we saw earlier, but we still appreciate that. We are his number one podcast, which we should be everybody's number one podcast. And also going along with the YouTube stuff that everybody has been sending us as well. We currently sit 17,000. I swear we were on this number with DB not that long, like this number also with DB not that long ago. 87. Not a great history, I don't think, for the Steelers. My mind goes to a different athlete in Pittsburgh.
Sidney Crosby.
Yeah.
Kevin Rader.
Kevin Rader. It's got to be some other tight ends, right? Like
Rodney Williams.
Oh, Hot Rod. Yeah.
I mean, Mark Bruner was a
yeah,
real good one.
That's who I was thinking of. Yeah.
Weegee Thompson is a wide receiver from the 80s with an all-time great name.
Yeah. Actually, you know how I know that we've done this before? Because if I search, it literally shows that I clicked on Weegee Thompson.
There you go.
On Pro Football Reference. So anyways, all right, good stuff. So yeah, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, hit us in the comments. As I said, if you listen somewhere else, Apple, Spotify, wherever your podcast from, we are there. Just search Steelers Afternoon Drive, leave us a 5-star review, and subscribe while you are there. And then find me everywhere, Zachary Smith, PGH, for Alan Saunders, Derrick Bell, and myself. Thanks for jumping in. Take another ride on the Steelers Afternoon Drive.